was chilly in the morning. I was like, I don't even know what I would wear.
It's that time of year where, I mean, by the time this comes out, it'll actually probably be cold, but it's that time of year where you got to bring a sweater for the morning, but you got to take it off for the most of the day and then put it back on when you leave.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they're running the AC
Love it.
still inside.
I know.
In
Which
which
we do
case you just
sometimes.
wear it all. Exactly. It's true. So
It gets
you
pretty
just wear
chilly.
it all damn day.
What is your favorite season of the year? Is it like summer,
Fall, winter for sure.
fall and winter? Okay.
Yeah, I like winter because, well, I mean, I don't think, honestly, I don't think I would like snow that much if I had to live in it. But I guess our winter is more like fall anywhere else, and so I really like it.
Mm-hmm.
I like the 50s, 60s temperatures,
Nippy.
and I love Christmas.
Oh yeah.
But I love pretty much everything fall, like all, the fall colors, the pumpkin, Halloween, Thanksgiving, just all of that.
Mhm.
The warm colors, just everything. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I like the fall and the spring. I like the winters here too. I guess it really just depends on where I'm at. Because when I would say there's something nice about Connecticut's winters, but the fall is beautiful. The color, the change of the colors, the leaves, they get like blood red. Remember when there was
Ooh,
one
nice.
tree? It was crazy. This tree, when the sun would set, the light would stream through these just deep red leaves, and it would just look like the tree was like on fire. It was really, really cool. So that was
That's
nice.
really
And
cool.
then you go through this really rough winter, and you're having to like shovel a path through
That's
just to
not
get around. Yeah, that's not so fun. But then again, we did build jumps, and we went on sled. We had a snow day the first day of school one year, and so we had no assignments due. So it was just like, all right. And the secretary at the time was like, she's like, hey, I've got sleds at home. So she went home, grabbed sleds, and we just went down plastic sleds. So that was kind of cool. But people's demeanor, it actually affects people out there to where they're a little bit more closed off. Everyone's walking more briskly. Everyone's got their jackets on. But then fall and spring rolls around, and people are like, the first sunny day of spring, they're just like, people are smiling, whereas like just days ago they were just all like this bundled up, and they don't even look at me. But they're out there. Yeah,
They're free.
In t-shirts and shorts.
Exactly.
70
It's that
degrees,
cool.
60 degree weather.
Exactly. I love that coolness. I love the anticipation of summer, but then once you're there, you're just like, oh god, why?
Alrighty. We doing this?
Let's mob it.
Do it.
How you doing, everybody? Welcome to Aflixionados podcast, episode 45, our last episode of 2024.
Wow.
Crazy.
We're available wherever you get your podcasts, with new episodes dropping on the first Saturday of each month, 5 a.m. Pacific. If you enjoy our content, please consider giving us a like. Our Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, merch store, all of that is conveniently bundled together for you in our link tree, so go check that out. We're even on Letterboxd.
Sort of.
Sort of. Maybe.
Mhm.
My name is Eric, and the other voices occupying your head this time are a devoted mother of three, lab geek, comic nerd, HBIC, my sister and co-host Stephanie.
Wait, what? Okay, I think I got it.
It's clicking now.
Yeah, a little bit. Delayed reaction.
A man of many trades, philosopher, charmer, my good friend, colleague, future librarian, and co-host Michael.
Cheer.
Did you say future librarian? Are you going to be a librarian?
Yeah. I'm a nerd.
Here on Aflixionados podcast, we mainly talk about films that range from mind-numbing to mind-blowing. We also cover TV shows and other forms of media. As always, we'll be getting into spoilers here, and there will be only the healthiest amount of expletives tossed in. You have been warned. If you're ready, then get ready, because in this episode, we'll be discussing the cyberpunk action crime thriller Minority Report, released in 2002, directed by Steven Spielberg.
Yes.
Man, I always forget how old it is too, because the technology
Pretty
is
advanced.
Pretty advanced, yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. It was pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, prescient. Yeah, there was I mentioned earlier today, there was an article written in Wired magazine where they interviewed the basically the guys that were members of this idea summit that Steven Spielberg put together, where he brought together the filmmakers that were going to work on the project and scientists and technologists who could predict kind of what's going to be realistic within the next 50 years. It's kind of an indiscriminate time in the Philip K. Dick story, and so they just kind of settled on what time. At first, they were throwing around.
Wait, so this is gonna sound dumb, but is Minority Report from a book or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
I
guess
did
it
not know
started
that.
up. Yeah, it was a Philip K. Dick story, a guy who did.
This is like the first time that I have not known this.
It's a short story. It's
Right.
like a short story, like what do you call it? Do androids dream of electric sheep?
Yeah, that I have read actually.
I haven't read that.
It's really weird.
I bet. It's like I mean, it being a short story, there's a whole lot that hasn't been filled out yet. So
Yeah.
they at this idea summit, they were coming up with essentially what it was like, what the world was going to be like,
Right.
developing whatever Philip K. Dick did not do.
That was the 1956 novella, The Minority Report.
I mean, like I said, I've read Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, and it was super weird.
Here's the thing. I love the atmosphere and just the aesthetic of cyberpunk,
Me too.
but I've realized that cyberpunk novels don't really speak to me for whatever reason.
No,
Like they just
same.
are, they're kind of
I agree.
boring.
I just think they're super duper weird, like too weird. Like they just get on like I need to be on drugs for this level.
Yeah.
And
Cool ideas,
I don't do
though.
drugs, so
Bummer.
I feel like I should call you Annie now
you know what?
with those curls.
Oh,
Annie wouldn't do that.
he wouldn't have done that.
That's uncharacteristic. So, another fun fact. Minority Report was originally going to be adapted to serve as a direct sequel to the film Total Recall, which is another Philip K. Dick story, by the way.
That's hilarious because Colin Farrell plays, he's in the new,
Right,
he was in the
right.
remake.
The
Yeah.
remake.
Huh.
Mhm.
That's interesting.
Those two stories have no relation, so I guess they were going to force that to be in the same world somehow. And Arnold Schwarzenegger was set to reprise his lead role in Minority Report, that version of Minority Report. But the production company filed for bankruptcy, and the project was reworked into a standalone film, which is what we have today.
Interesting.
Minority Report did pretty damn well. It was the 10th highest grossing film of 2002, behind The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers,
Oh,
Harry
wow.
Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, and the original Spider-Man film, just to name a few.
Not bad.
Wow, it was
That
up
was some
there.
tough competition, yeah.
We're
Yeah.
number 10. We're number 10.
Judging by all of the movies that came out that year, number 10, not too bad of a spot to be in. And now we got to jump back to the year 2054. A federal government plans to nationally implement the experimental Precrime police program, which has been operating for 6 years in Washington, D.C. Apparently in the book, though, it's a different location.
Interesting.
I think it's in New York.
I wonder why they moved it.
They have enough movies about New York.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they chose DC, but I do know they were like, you can't build buildings higher than the Capitol. Like it won't happen in 50 years. You will not build it higher. And the only reason why they needed it to have high rises were for the chase scenes in the car
Yeah.
and everything. Yeah, so that's why they filmed it nearby, not actually in DC, but like nearby. So
DC adjacent.
DC adjacent.
And then we're introduced to 3 clairvoyants, or precogs as they're called in the film, because they have precognitive powers. They have these psychic impressions, like they can see these flashes, these images of future events that haven't happened yet. They happen to always be around like homicide and murders and such, which kind of sucks for them.
Yeah.
That's their whole life.
I know. That's all they
That's
see.
your whole life. Let's put you in a pool and put you to sleep, basically, and just tell us when more of that's gonna happen, and then
Yeah, some sort of like sedation.
and then someday you'll die, and then we'll have to find other
Imagine
people.
the muscle atrophy.
Oh yeah.
That jelly that they're in. Is it anything like what's that tar that Homeboy's in Dune?
Dune. Yeah, whatever that healing tar bath thing
It's
is.
like just
that goop.
he gets all fucked up, and then all of a sudden he can just dip into that and just be like a little beetle, and then comes back out and he's like, I'm entirely healed. So maybe they're healing this photon shit.
Or like those beds in Elysium.
Yeah, if only they had that.
Man,
That'd be
S3
pretty
I
dope.
haven't seen. I
Oh my
ain't seen
gosh.
that one either.
Then we won't spoil it, but that one is pretty cool because they have these like exosuits, which
Right.
that's on the box cover, so you can see that. But
Right. Avatar, a la Avatar.
fighting with exosuits, pretty badass, I will say.
Okay, that's probably in our near future. Let's be real.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
Totally. 2054, here we come. All right.
Yeah. So we have these precogs, and they just always see these like
Murders.
future murder events. Somehow, this organization, the Precrime officers, they're able to like develop this whole system around them. Right? They've developed this division of law enforcement where they just work closely with the precogs, and then they go out and pursue these people and kind of intercept these future murders before they happen. And they're led by John Anderton, played by Tom Cruise, of course, which is he's like the big name in the movie. I actually don't think there's anyone recognizable in this movie other than like him and Colin Farrell. Which I mean, was Colin Farrell like a huge name at this time?
I think he was kind of coming up at the time.
Okay.
The senator. I'm trying to think of his name. The older gentleman.
Ooh,
Yeah.
right.
You see somebody, but those are the only two. I mean, those are the only three.
That's Max von Sydow.
Von Sydow.
Von Sydow.
I mean, I had a classmate with that last name in high school, and that is the only hint I have to if I'm pronouncing that right.
Oh, nice.
I wonder if they're related.
Ooh, that'd be kind of cool. He's a great actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic actor.
You know, speaking of last names, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but there's something about the last name Anderton that I just don't like. I hate hearing that last name.
Oh, I wrote Anderson. Yeah, that's oh god,
Anderton. Yeah,
Anderton.
Yeah.
A ton of Ander. Oh, by the way, Sydow is it was also in Game of Thrones. He was the three-eyed. He was the three-eyed
raven.
Oh yeah. Right. Oh man, he's still alive.
No,
no, he's not.
He was then.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe because I mean, if it was Anderson, that would mean he was the son of Ander, but Anderton would be he came from the town of Ander.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Not
Still
one
don't like
bit.
it. Anyway, yeah, we're introduced to the Precrime with the
arrest.
Yeah, the arrest of a crime of passion. And it's funny because like as soon as they start seeing the murder and then the balls come out, I was like, why do they do it that way? It's so wasteful. And then they explain it, so that's I was like, why don't they just print out on a strip of paper?
Right. Or just like show it on the screen, like
right. But then they eventually explain that like wood has the grains or whatever are like fingerprints. You can't replicate it. You can't. So you can't fake it.
So it's legit. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, the red ones we know. I don't know what color the rest of them are, but the red ones, which are the only ones we see in the movie, are crimes of passion, which aren't premeditated.
Premeditated partner.
So the first one we see is
what's so important about Precrime is that they actually have tangible results. So they've almost nearly eliminated all premeditated murders in the 6-year existence of the organization.
They haven't had any pretty much murders.
Right. Yeah. Those are a little bit tougher because they have less time to address those, but they can completely eliminate the premeditated ones. The spontaneous ones, a little bit more difficult.
But it seems like they have a pretty good track record, and John Anderton is their best. Do
you know
this guy?
I was going to mention something, sorry, real fast about the photons. I just thought of this right now. Do you know why photons?
I had no idea it even had a name.
Photons. He calls it photon milk.
It's photon milk because of this one of the technology, I think is one of the technologists, Gershenfeld, in that article says, I described EPR correlation, which is Einstein Podolsky Rosen. It has to do with quantum mechanics dealing with entanglement. He said, what I suggested was that you would entangle the precogs with the city, that there's an EPR source and you emit correlated photons and they entangle the brains of the precogs with the city around them as a way to get the perception.
So they're wired into the city.
Yeah.
So they're wired into the city via photons and entanglement. Mm-hmm.
It's like the Cerebro, I'm assuming.
Exactly.
To their abilities. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, because they definitely don't explain that.
Right. And I just happened to catch that, so that's when you guys started mentioning it. Just kind of clicked finally.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Precog milk.
That's right.
Milk.
I'm gonna grab some milk
Like Clockwork Orange, like how they just sit there and drink their milk.
with their eggy wigs.
The milk is obviously laced with drugs, though, guys.
Right, that's true.
What? They don't. What? Yes. That's why they're just like chilling.
Yeah.
Why would you drink milk otherwise if it didn't have
Yeah.
drugs?
Because it's freaking delicious.
Weird.
Shut your face, guys. At least they have good bones, probably.
Maybe. At least soft skin.
Yeah.
Nice fair skin.
Yeah.
Yeah, so so it's interesting because this guy catches his wife cheating on him, and of course they bust in right at the last moment and pretty much
Pun intended.
stop his hand as it's coming down. Like, obviously there are ethical questions about something like this because they never actually did it, even though they caught them about to do it.
That is the dilemma.
And so yeah, like there's definitely, it gets fuzzy there because it's like literally his hand was coming down with the scissors and they stopped it. And so in that kind of situation, like, damn, can you definitively say it was going to happen?
Exactly. I will say to that, this thought came to mind where one time I was working at Apple, retail in Pasadena, when we wanted to catch somebody who was shoplifting, when we needed to do that, there's no way you cannot arrest them until they've actually committed the crime, which meant that in order for them to be prosecuted, they actually had to cross the threshold of the front door.
When I worked in retail, we were able to stop them as long as they were still in the store. But once they crossed the threshold and exited, we weren't allowed to do anything anymore because
can't pursue.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's I guess the distinction. So we had a third party security guard who was in plain clothes, and that's how he would catch shoplifters, which is seldom done. It seldom needed to have something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he would be waiting for them outside, and that's the only way that they could prosecute as, I guess, this third party, and they had to have a whole report, and cops got involved.
It wasn't considered stolen until they left.
Right.
Ooh, before we get too far in the movie, I did want to spend a little bit of time on this because this was probably one of the main reasons why I was initially interested in watching Minority Report. Let's talk about the interface.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
So fucking sick,
dude.
Even till this day.
One of the technologists was the dude who worked with Microsoft Connect. So the whole
touchless, and you got put on the little special glove with like the
that is sick though, right? And it's like only 3 fingers or whatever, and it's like
he's zooming in and he's cutting like little pieces out and like moving
like
it.
Those gestures, so cool, man. Like I want that. When I saw Tom Cruise is so badass with his like.
I was always mesmerized by all the technology in that movie. The way that the cars work, the way the computers work, the way the eye scanners.
A lot of cool technology.
The cars, funny thing about that too is there were no buttons. They were going to just it was supposed to be voice activated. Everything was going to be by voice because in the future, it would just be by voice. But they're like, in a movie, you got to have buttons. He's got to press stuff. He can't just, So they put buttons in there in the movie, but that was the initial idea.
We're advanced, but not that.
Nowadays, it would be a touchscreen. Maybe no buttons, but there's still a touchscreen.
Sure.
So, you got John Anderton doing his thing, like being all badass with the interface, like zooming in and out, and he catches the bad guy last minute. What would be the movie without a foil, right? So now we got the Department of Justice agent Danny Whitwer, played by Colin Farrell. And he's kind of sent to the Precrime division to check it out and like see if there's anything like sus about it. It seems like he kind of comes in with a chip on his shoulder because he immediately starts butting heads with Anderton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's just like, how can you? He's basically asking the ethical questions like, how can you be arresting these people who haven't actually done anything?
Yep.
And are you ever wrong? How do you know they were going to do it? Kind of thing.
Exactly. Right. He needs to spot flaws in the system.
Right. So that people aren't being unjustly, incarcerated, because how can you be sure? I mean, it's good to have an advocate like that. I mean, granted, you're trying to root for the protagonist, that of course being Tom Cruise, and of course he's the one, like exacting justice. But yeah, that other dude's just looking out for folks.
It's kind of weird that in this film, they kind of depict it like Anderton just kind of does everything. Because I would expect it like maybe have like a specialist that's just constantly doing the like hand gestures. And then it's like you have like a infield team that's like taking down these criminals or these future criminals, and that's like
Yeah, but
his
he
main thing,
does everything. No, they had to give Tom Cruise all the stuff because he's Tom
all the
Cruise.
glory. I mean, they could have given it to that blonde guy. He seems capable. Do you remember that guy? He's kind of like the right hand man, the lieutenant.
Oh, the guy with those like piercing blue eyes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that guy. He's the one who kind of leads the team when they're hunting for Anderton himself, right?
right.
I was gonna say he always plays that dick. I don't know. He's always he's the guy. He's always
He
that
has
one
that
guy.
face.
Kind of
who's
looks a
just-
little sketch. Yeah.
He's an instigator. Mind your damn business.
Dang.
Mm-hmm.
Cash me outside.
Cash
Yay.
me has to have a that.
So next we got Agatha, one of the precogs, basically the only female precog. She experiences a flashback of like some random woman drowning or being drowned in a lake. She shows it to Anderton when he's kind of like in the temple area, which is what they call the area where the photon milk is. And Anderton's just kind of walking by, you know, like checking in on him, making sure everything's good. And then she just kind of springs awake and grabs him and is just like, "Do you see?" All creepy, and, you know, shows him the little footage that she's envisioning.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of weird, you know, it's ominous. You don't really understand
Yeah.
what's going on yet.
Yeah, it's weird. The cuts.
Cue the beginning of one of several storylines going on in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Her name, the lady being drowned, her name is Anne Lively, and apparently she went missing shortly after the murder was supposedly prevented. So that's kind of odd.
Right, yeah.
Hmm.
So then next, here is the beginning of storyline number 2. Then we suddenly get another red ball, another crime of
Ooh.
passion,
It gets pooped out by the system.
pooped out by the system after it gets made by the system. And that is, whatchamacallit, a red ball, like I said.
Mhm.
And it predicts that who wants to be the bearer of bad news?
Colonel Mustard did it in the library with a candlestick.
With the candle. Why is it always the candlestick? You know, that's always the go-to murder weapon.
It's just
in
the most awkward shaped thing,
Right.
blunt force object, but it's like brass. You know, it's like heavy. Bearer of bad news.
Yeah, none other than John Anderton himself
What?
murdering a rando named, what was it, something Crow?
Leo Crow.
Leo Crow, thank you.
Oh shit! Who the hell is this
And
Leo Crow?
Anderton's like, there is no way I'm gonna kill anybody.
Because he's looking at the vision, right? As the ball comes out, the visions are on the screen, and then he sees himself, and he's like, "What the
Yeah.
hell?"
He shipped his pants.
The only person that's there to see it though is the precog daddy. What's his name?
Big Daddy Precog.
The scientist that
He acts like he's their parent. He's like, I missed you so much. I'm here, you know.
yeah, I don't know if he acts like their parent. I don't know. I get weird vibes from him.
I'm hoping I'm gonna go with that because otherwise it gets extra creepy.
That's why I'm like, yeah, keep an
Either
eye
way,
on
it's
that
a little
guy.
creepy, but if he you know, if he's just like a loving parent, that's a little less creepy than it's a sexual thing. So let's go with a creepy parent.
Yeah,
But yeah, he's
that's
like,
the third storyline.
I know. He's like,
Love
John,
story.
I like you, so I'm gonna give you 2 minutes.
Anderton's like he keeps rewinding and like fast forwarding, and he's trying to figure it out. Like, what the fuck
Yeah,
is this?
yeah,
You know, this has to be a mistake. And when he finally just like leaves that frame, that's when that guy that overlooks the precogs, he's watching it too from down below in the temple,
right.
and he's just
Yeah.
like, Anderton, I like you, so that's why I'm gonna give you like a couple minutes head start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that sucks. How did he know that he was gonna run away? Like, why didn't he think like Anderton was like, well, obviously this is a mistake, so I'm just gonna stay here? He's like, nope,
Right.
everyone always runs, and so does he.
Everyone always runs. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
He's like, I need to clear my name, I guess. So he leaves.
He needs more time to figure things out.
Imagine being that person though. Imagine
I
like
know.
having to run. Imagine thinking that like your former people that are your friends, just the law enforcement, having to run away from them, and now
Oh,
you're
yeah.
on the lam because you're wanted as a criminal, even though you didn't commit anything and you're just trying to clear your name.
I mean, that's what he was doing to everyone else.
Right?
Yeah. Right now he's exactly. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The hunter is now the hunted.
Exactly.
And of course, you know, this is kind of what Whitwer was hoping for, I think, secretly. And he's just like, oh, fuck yeah, I knew there's something about you, Anderton. And so, yeah, the hands rubbing together. Oh, yeah,
Mhm,
it's time.
Cue the little man in Twin Peaks.
Right. Mm-hmm.
this is the point where they like fight in that alleyway, right? Before he escapes and goes to the mother of Precrime's house.
Yeah, he like steals a jetpack and stuff. Like that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I
Did
was,
he
I was gonna
use
say, what do you guys think about the
yeah.
jetpacks?
Those are interesting.
They didn't seem very effective though
I
in
know.
catching
That was
Anderton.
that was something that Steven Spielberg insisted he wanted in the movie, though, and the
Jetpacks.
technology. None of the other scientists were like, yeah, that wasn't us.
That's weird.
But he wanted it, so you know, and everyone wanted to impress him, so they're
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Spielberg's like, but guys, jetpacks, man.
think about it, and they're like,
Well, I mean, I guess if anybody's going to know how to kind of manipulate them, it's going to be Anderton. But here's my freaking question: why is their weapon of choice a pole that makes you throw up?
I don't know. Or was it just the way that it was like,
Well,
because
no,
he
they
like
call them
jabbed
six
him, right?
sticks.
oh right.
They literally call them six sticks.
My question is, does that mean if they're six sticks and you don't hit them anywhere else but the throat, will it still cause them to do that? Or if you
Right,
do you
right.
always have to apply it to the throat,
I
like
feel like
every
the
time?
implication is that no matter where you get it, like a
Oh,
taser, no matter
dang.
where you get it, it's still going to tase you,
That's so
and
lame.
this
It's
is
like
going to make
playing.
you throw up.
It's like tag football, and the tags everywhere on you. Yeah,
I
you
think
didn't
it's
get
dumb
me.
because like it may incapacitate a person for a couple minutes or whatever, but you're also making a giant mess. Like, just tase them, damn it! Like,
Mhm.
it's disgusting.
Honestly,
On the other side, what do you guys think about that cool like pulse gun?
That's better.
yeah,
That was way
dug
better.
that. Dug
That
that.
was pretty dope. Even the way that he cocks
I know
it, because
it's
he got like,
unnecessarily flippy.
Oh,
but
that was cool. Yeah,
yeah, that was cool. I
that
like
was.
that. It just launches them back.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was just like a cool visualization too. Awesome to watch.
Mm-hmm. It was. It was.
That happened in the factory, huh? That Lexus
yeah, that was
factory.
a little bit later, but yeah, I mean, this still leads to yet another kind of cool piece of technology in the form of Dr. Hinneman's plants.
Ah, yes, that's right.
So she's developed, she's obviously a bit of a scientist, and it looks
She's a
like,
botanist.
biology and nature are her specialty because she was the person who I don't know, figured out that their drug addicts kids had special abilities,
Right.
and then was able to try, spearheaded figuring out how to hone into those abilities. But unfortunately, it sounds like a lot of them died in their efforts, which is pretty horrible.
Naturally, whenever you have these like strange experiments, there's always like a bunch that die. I mean, it kind of sounds like V for Vendetta
That's
in
what I was
some
thinking
ways.
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
the way V was made. So yeah, but these three they made it out, and they were successful. But of course, the twins, the boys, the Arthur and Dashiell, they have the skill, but it's amplified by Agatha. So she's the key. They can't really work without her.
She kind of spearheads it, yeah. So that's a cool revelation.
Yeah.
Well, one, they're the byproduct of drug addict parents. And then two, Agatha is the main one. She's the one that kind of like makes sure that everyone can work cohesively together.
And three, cue the Minority Report.
So what is the Minority Report? Because I, even after explaining it, I was still kind of unsure about.
So basically, all three of them have the vision, but if one doesn't match up perfectly with the other two, it's considered kind of a mistake, and they toss it, and then they go with. So it's like 2 out of 3 majority rules, I guess.
So it's not definitive.
Yeah, and so they go with the two that are
Hence the
consistent,
minority.
and then the Minority Report gets tossed. So that's what he was there to find out is, does the Minority Report exists, and once he finds out that it does exist, he goes back to ask Agatha where his Minority Report is. He's sure that he must have one.
Yeah, and that was explained by Dr. Iris Heineman, who is played by Lois Smith, by the way. She was the one that was saying that. She was like, "Yeah, it's the Minority Report." And so he's like, "Okay, where the fuck do I find that?" And she was like, "Well, the strongest one. Which one's that one? The female, of course."
Mm-hmm.
So, a little cheeky.
Mm-hmm.
I got you, Heineman. But it's stored locally. It's not like uploaded to their system. It's like stored locally in her mind, I guess. But it's like, I don't know. There's something about the name. Like it to me, it felt similar to Blade Runner. Like they have this cool sounding name, but for no reason. Like what the fuck? Where the hell did they get this name? You know, why are they called Blade Runners?
Right.
Right.
There's like no explanation. It just sounds cool. So I felt like I get the minority part, but why is it a report necessarily? You know, it's more of
Because
like
I guess
it's like a vision.
I guess they consider like all of their visions reports because this is the government.
It kind of sounds like something that like La Migra would come up with, the Minority Report.
Yeah, we got some minorities here trying to cross the border. Caught them.
Oh, really quick, Lois Smith, she was Aunt Meg in Twister.
Yeah.
Oh, wow,
knew
that's
she
right.
looked
I knew she looked familiar.
Yeah. Oh, there she is, and she's still, an eccentric old lady, right? With her
Right.
with her poisonous snake plants, and which is cool, I guess. I mean, I guess that's how she keeps herself busy, keeps herself off grid, and I'm sure because she kind of reminds me of that one doctor in V for Vendetta that felt remorse,
Oh,
and then
right,
like
right.
went off grid and tried to do something like helpful for humanity, and then felt all this guilt. So that's kind of what she reminded me of. Like she maybe realized that their project wasn't so great after all, so she wasn't involved in it anymore. She was just living off grid doing botany. And that's what that's what she did in V for Vendetta too. She did botany, remember?
Right, right. And another thing I realized is that apparently for you to be like this psychic mutant, all you need to do is have your parents, while you're pregnant, just do Neroin, which is
Yeah.
that drug in the movie. So just have them do that drug, and then you'll be psychic.
Yeah, side note, Anderton is addicted to this drug also. Huh. I just had a thought. um he's good at his job, but he's also severely depressed because he lost his son at a public pool. Like he went underwater and he came up and his son was gone.
That's right.
And then him and his wife even split up over it, and so she lives off somewhere else. And he just does his work and then comes home and does drugs and watches old home videos of his son and his wife and wallows in self pity. So,
But they're holograms, right?
yeah, they're like
Yeah.
hologram home videos,
Home
which is
videos.
kind of cool.
Mhm.
Crazy.
So yeah, that is part of the Tom Crow storyline, or the Leo Crow storyline, and we'll get more to that a little bit later.
But basically, so Anderton is running from Precrime, and he gets all this information from Dr. Heinemann, and then she basically tells him he needs to take his happy ass back to Precrime in order to get that Minority Report.
Yeah.
So he was going in the wrong direction.
So he goes back.
It's not going to be easy because there's like all these biometric systems that will track him way before he even gets close to the Precrime division. So
Oh yeah, true. So he can't go back yet.
he needs to do something about his eyes.
He has to take care of the
That's it.
eye problem. So this is fun. This is just like a little side bit that he has to take care of. But I've always thought this scene is super interesting. First of all, fucking gross because
Gross.
the first moment
so
that
many
they
ways.
show, this black market back alley surgeon, he's literally like blowing snot out of his nose into his hand, and just like he's like, oh, I have a cold, but with all the antibiotics I'm gonna put in you wouldn't you wouldn't catch something if I left a dead cat in your whatever he said. But
Yeah.
but it's just disgusting. Like I feel like it was just like a shock factor kind of situation. Like why did they why
This dimly lit, sort of office area
dingy
that he's working.
apartment kind of.
Mhm.
Right. He trusts this
So
guy
yeah,
to do
I have
this.
I had lots of questions about this guy. Yeah, first of all,
Yeah.
ew. Second of all, apparently Anderton put him away.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. So he's going to him.
He used to work on burn victims, but I guess he used to set his patients on fire and then film it. It was my understanding,
Damn.
or take pictures of it, and so that's what Anderton put him away for. And
He's
then
a
he
fucking
gets out
weirdo.
so he learned a couple tricks in prison and came out and now does back alley eye abortions.
And it's like, isn't that scary that like he already sedates him? Oh, first off, like he's trying to like do it behind his back. He's trying to do it like Dexter style, like like right in the neck when you're not looking. But then he eventually sedates him, and then as he's putting on that like little like face mask thing, he's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, you're the one that put me away."
Right? I would have been like, and I'm out.
That's like right before he passes out, though.
Exactly.
Right. Oh, but he did at least get to tell him that he wanted to keep his original eyes.
Right.
That's important.
And he was nice enough to leave him a sandwich
Oh my god,
in the fridge.
that was another why I had about this damn clinic. Why did he put? Why didn't they throw out all the other old gross shit that was in there?
Yeah. There's
Ugh.
no reason. Like, why did he blow his nose into his hand? And then it's like, why was he
Ugh.
trying to sedate him?
Forcefully.
Yeah, while he was not looking. He points out that, oh, yeah, by the way, you're the one that arrested me and you ruined my career. But it's like, why did he not fuck him over? I was kind of curious about that.
Yeah, and then it gives him a little gift at the end, which works, by the way. The face.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and then another why is why did his assistant lady, that giant Russian lady, and why do they have a bathroom behind like an almost see-through screen? First of all, why did she go to the
Yeah.
bathroom and not wash her hands?
So many whys.
Why? This clinic
Just
is
this whole eye transplant part of the movie, like why?
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, I have always kind of I've always found that scene interesting though, like gross but interesting. So
He's a good actor. I actually like that guy.
Yeah, me too.
yeah. So then it shows him he has the bandages over his eyes, and the guy's like, "You can't take these bandages off for 12 hours, or you're gonna go blind." Which 12 hours is a pretty remarkable recovery time. So just saying.
Yeah.
Um.
Hey, it's the future.
Yeah, seriously. And there's so many antibiotics in this dude. He probably healed instantly.
And he gave him some more Narrowin if you wanted it.
Oh yeah, he did give him that, and gave him the ropes. One, this hand leads to the bathroom, this hand leads to the kitchen, and there's a sandwich and some milk in there for
That's
you,
right.
plus a bunch of water. Stay hydrated. Good luck. Bye.
Good luck.
I will find you.
And then Anderton slept for 6 hours, so that part was nice.
Yeah.
But when he wakes up, well, he tries to go and get something to eat, but freaking grabs the wrong sandwich and then tries to drink the milk to get the taste out of his mouth, but knocks over the good milk and grabs the bad milk.
But he's blind because he can't. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he has to chug a bunch of ice water, which is in that giant open cooler.
Right.
So that was fun. Why? At that point, I guess they had traced him to that building.
But those little spiders.
So the Precrime people come and they release the spiders, little eye scanning robots to identify everybody in a building.
Yeah, I did want to ask you guys, what you think about those biometric spiders?
Creepy crawlers.
They're creepy, but they're cool. And it's interesting because
cool.
like some of the first people it scans is a mom and her kids, and she's just like, don't be scared, just lean her head back and just let them do their thing. But they have to crawl up your body to scan
They're
your
on
eyes,
you.
so that makes it like extra traumatic. Instead of just being
Especially
like,
if you're arachnophobe.
I know, can you please bend down so I can scan your eyes? No, they have to crawl up your body and force your head back and scan your eyes. So
Right. You don't want to fuck with these things.
Exactly. You can be in the middle of a lover's quarrel, which they show, and then all of a sudden it's like, arguing, and all of a sudden they stop, and then it like scans their eye, and anyway, like I said,
a couple people having sex and they had to pause, and then a couple people fighting and they had to pause, and mom and the kids and people at dinner and just everybody.
Hey, they're effective. I thought the design of them was pretty interesting. They kind of reminded me of those alien pods from War of the Worlds. Tiny versions of those.
Super tiny versions of those.
Kind of futuristic, right? Not of this world, though. Like, they seem kind of like alien technology.
Yeah. But they're just 2054 technology.
That's all.
But yeah, I mean, obviously they get to the apartment that John is hanging out in, and he knows they're coming because they announce it, and so he's like stuffing towels under the door. They can't get in, so they go in like through the floor and like through the floor lights and enter the apartment that way. But he still knows they're coming, so he's trying to make himself an ice bath. He's trying to make an ice bath because they're going by heat signature. They're scanning everybody by heat signature. So if his heat signature disappears, they'll be like, oh, we don't have to scan that guy because he's not there.
Maybe it was a cat?
A large cat.
That was a really big cat.
And so the spiders are just about to leave when a little bubble comes out of his nose and pops at the surface of the water, and all the spiders are attracted back.
Oh, shit.
Converge on the tub and shock him out of it.
And here's the problem: he can't scan his eyes yet because it hasn't been 12 hours.
Ooh.
But he has to do it, otherwise they're gonna bring him in. So he peels back that bandage
Oh.
and lets them scan his eye. And thankfully, he doesn't go blind.
This is kind of nerve-wracking too, because one, you're like, what the hell's going to happen to his eyes? Because he has to peel back the bandages and let
Right.
him scan. And
What's he
also,
look like?
because that body heat signature disappeared, that triggered some suspicion by the cops. So that's when blonde guy with the ice blue eyes, he's just like, all right, let's go check out the apartment. That's probably him. And then so just when they're about to break through the door, the spiders peel back the bandage and scan his eyes, and it confirms that it's someone else's eyes. So they're like, oh, okay, well, that's not him.
Nothing to see here.
That was good timing.
Yeah.
It's like the spiders were working against him and for him at the same time. But it's interesting that they have those little tasers, almost like R2D2.
Right.
You piss them off, they'll shock you. That was kind of a nerve-wracking scene, but he's in the clear now, so he can make his way back over to Precrime. He definitely, he came prepared. He has his old eyes in a little Ziploc bag, and he reaches one of the little side entrances of the temple. From what it seems like, he uses his old eyes to get back in.
Oh.
I don't understand why he still has access to this building, though.
Right? Why haven't they locked
As
him
an
out
IT
yet?
professional, as an IT professional,
I said the same thing. Maybe their IT people don't have you guys in it.
There
Right.
you go. You got to remove.
Their IT didn't get the memo that they're supposed to terminate his account, so he still has access.
Term that account.
And this is also a little unnecessary. When he's pulling out one of the eyes, he's like freaking like waving the bag around, trying to get the eye out, and then just like falls on the ground.
Unnecessary. That's kind of the why. Another why, like your sister.
Why is that necessary? No idea. But yeah, now he has to go chase his eyes. They're just rolling on the ground.
Nasty.
He actually loses
you would think
one.
that he would be. I know you would think that he would be more careful with that.
Yeah,
Maybe try and even scan it through the bag or something like that.
exactly.
But no, he almost loses one. They almost go down this little drain thing, and he manages to just barely catch one by the eye nerve or whatever. Yeah, ew. But he does use it to successfully get in the building because their IT team sucks or their security team sucks, whatever.
They probably just have that one IT guy like in Jurassic Park.
Oh my god. Smart.
You didn't say the magic word.
Yeah, so then he goes in there and he basically accosts Agatha and is like, "Where's my minority report?" Oh man, does she show him right there? No, she's just showing him Anne Lively, right? And
so he just grabs her and then bounces, and basically what that does is that cripples the Precrime system, because obviously the other two can't do their job without her.
He doesn't bounce, he flushes.
Oh, true.
He does flush. That's right. With the
that is one way to get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Conveniently, it takes them someplace where they can't get him.
I know.
Right.
But they do. I mean, they do make it out of there together.
He gets lucky in a lot of scenarios. I'm not gonna lie.
No, I mean, he's not lucky because he has a freaking precog with him. So she's telling him like, "Don't go that way. Go that way. Grab this."
Oh, that's right. That was really cool.
Yeah. I did like that scene.
He gets her. Yeah, that's really cool. And then he gets her clothes. And when he gets scanned in the gap, he's like some Asian dude or something like that. "Hello, Mr. Yamamoto. How were those assorted tank tops that you bought last time you were here?"
So this is it was ahead of its time, because what he was showing here was personalized ads.
Yeah.
Quickly as you approach it just scans your eyes, and then it personalizes this ad directly for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't a thing back then. So that was definitely
like a sales associate or whatever.
Right.
Having like a personal shopper, they'll come up and if they remember like, "Oh, how did that dress work out that we bought last time?"
Which is, I mean, that's kind of how it is now, The phones are listening, and when you search for something, it automatically already knows what you're looking for.
Oh my god, even when we just talk about something, like I kid you not, one time I was talking to one of my friends, and she was joking about getting her nipples pierced, but she didn't really want to get her nipples pierced, but she wanted to get her nipples pierced. And so I started getting ads for fake magnetic nipple piercings.
What?
No joke. And I screenshot and I sent it to her, and I was like, "Yeah, it was listening."
What the heck?
Yeah.
Yeah, now I have ads for eye transplants. Crazy.
What the hell?
So when Anderton brings Agatha to like his little tech savvy friend, the guy that kind of runs like that little like VR.
It's a VR fantasy place.
Yeah,
So you
exactly.
can live out your fantasies, whatever they are.
Really quick, they do a Radio Shack joke right here. I don't
Yeah.
know if you guys caught that. Remember
Yeah.
that
He's
place?
like, I need to do this. And the dude's like, go to Radio Shack. Yeah, no. So I guess Radio Shack still existed back then.
Yeah.
Right. And he's like, yeah, you can either let me do my thing or you can take her to Radio Shack.
Oh my
What do you
God.
want to do? So I was like, wow, Radio Shack.
I know if
That's
we have any young
awesome.
people listening, Radio Shack was a small electronics store.
Bunch of random parts and pieces there, yeah.
Yeah, just for electronics. So it's kind of sort of like, it kind of reminds me of like it's like the size of a phone store, with like Best Buy stuff for sale, sort of. But it was just electronic, like just electronics and electronic
Right.
parts.
And they had some, I think they sold a lot of popular items, but they also had just like random like little phone cords and whatever, like these screws that
Yeah,
only go.
it was just like it was parts. So if you needed to buy electronics or fix your electronics, Radio Shack was the
Mhm.
place to go.
Something tells me they wouldn't be able to help Agatha at Radio Shack.
Nah,
Also, what'd you guys think of those VR pods? I thought that was pretty interesting.
look fun.
That was a cool idea.
I like how there was this one where the guy was just like getting praised by everybody. You're the man. He's like, no, no, you're the man. That was his freaking fantasy.
That's right.
So yeah, then we get the really cool scene of them going through the mall, and then she'll be like, "Stop right here! Wait, wait, wait!" And she's very dramatic about it. This is Samantha Morton. You may have seen her in The Walking Dead as Alpha, another role in which she shaved her head. I wonder if either time she shaved her head for this. I don't know, but I think she actually did shave her head for Alpha. So
They lost me.
I know they
Yeah.
lost a lot of people. Actually, no, Alpha that season was pretty good. But yeah, she's very good at screaming and being a little bit crazy and eccentric, and she has really expressive eyes.
Yeah.
So this role is perfect for her, right?
Mm-hmm.
They get through the mall. It's very dramatic. Back then, malls were still a thing, apparently. And they thought maybe in 2054 malls would still be a thing.
Damn.
Little did they know.
Right.
Amazon.
And it looked exactly like a regular mall back then.
I know.
Oh, right.
With balloons and everything, like it's all popping. People just hanging out, but let's be real. The only thing keeping malls alive right now is Cinnabon.
Oh, I was gonna say Orange Julius.
Definitely that. And Annie Ann's.
Ooh, okay.
Yes.
Pretzels,
Oh, Wetzel's too. yeah.
Wetzel's, hot dog on a stick,
Either one.
maybe.
Oh, hot dog on a stick for sure, but Orange Julius.
I know.
Sbarro's,
No.
Sabaros single-handedly.
saving malls all across America.
One puny slice.
That's how he ends up tracking him down, because like they look at Anderton's computer and they bust out, they pull off like the casing, and on the inside is this freaking calling card, and so that's how they end up tracing. I know, and so I don't know if it's like the business card or whatever, but yeah, that's how they end up kind of tracking him. Like, where would they take Agatha? So it's this guy, and sure enough, that's where John had taken her. He's able to find out that indeed he has no Minority Report.
Damn. The whole movie is named after that concept, and it's not even needed.
Mm-hmm.
No. Well, there's another Minority Report that becomes the topic of the movie, and that is Anne Lively's Minority Report, which Agatha keeps showing him over and over. So she's obviously, I think he looks into it at some point, doesn't he? She's a drowning victim.
He's trying to look into it, but there's a lot of missing information.
Yeah. And one of the things that he finds that's missing is Agatha's file. But anywho, he's very upset that he doesn't have a Minority Report, but he's like, there's still no way I'm going to kill this guy. So what the hell,
Yeah.
They're chasing this crow guy. Why is he chasing him?
As they're going through the mall, he sees that billboard being lifted up, and then it's the same guy with the glasses, and so he's like, holy shit, I saw that in my vision, or in the vision for me. And so he knows that he's super close to Crow, and that's when he sees the name listed. He's like, this guy is here in this building. Let's go meet him.
I don't know why I didn't catch this, but like, why is he chasing him?
because he wants to know who this person is. Like, why am I going to kill this person? I've never met this guy. Why would I want to kill him?
Let's follow this path to this guy that he's not supposed to be killing.
That's kind of strange,
The
right?
vision says he's going to kill him. Like, yeah.
If he never saw that vision, would he have ever met this crow person?
No.
So it's like he needed to have seen himself meeting Crow in order to meet Crow.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's one of those
Paradoxes.
Yeah. Thank you. But yeah, I mean, once he finds the right apartment and goes into it, there's all these pictures laid out of children.
Oh shit.
One of the pictures is a picture of his son, and he finds out that oh shit, Leo Crow killed my son. He admits to it, and he's like, well, I guess I'm gonna kill this guy.
Well, you also have to mention that he wasn't there initially, and then he walks in after the fact.
And then totally admits to killing his son.
Fuck that guy.
But the whole time, the whole time, Agatha's like, just leave. Like, you have a choice. None of these other people have seen their vision, but you have, so you have a choice, And so she's like, just make that choice and leave. Turn around, go the other way. That whole time.
That makes me wonder, like, did he not kill Crow because he already saw the vision and he had time to think about it, or was he ever going to kill Crow to begin with?
Mm-hmm.
I think he was going to kill him, and then he doesn't, because the timer ends and he doesn't do it. Because usually the murder happens right when the timer ends, and it hits 0 and it alarms, and that's when the murder happens. But his timer ends and he doesn't do it. He's able to change his future.
He also has Agatha coaching him from the side as well, which like the other victims don't have. There's no one there like in the heat of the moment to say like, you have a choice to not do this.
Yeah. So he doesn't do it. It does still end up happening the way it is in the vision, but it's not actually him. The guy just kills himself using his hand. You know what I mean?
Because he's desperate for money.
This scene totally frustrated me because Crow grabs the gun once and then Anderson pulls it away and then he grabs it again and then kills himself. What the fuck?
Yeah, I'm just like as soon as he grabbed the gun the first time and holds it against himself, like, why couldn't he just flip the safety on?
Back up a little bit.
Yeah, well, we skipped the part that he admits that, he's been put up to this. He didn't really kill Sean. He got pulled from prison, and he's basically like, let this guy kill you, and tell him that you killed his son, let him kill you, and we'll take care of your family for the rest of their lives.
What? So someone's conspiring against him?
Yeah.
Also, another thing, are the visions third person perspective? Who else is standing in this room watching this go down?
Right.
They should always be in first person. Someone's point of view.
Yeah.
Right.
Most likely the killers.
They're wired to the city thing, so the city is the witness.
But it's like, why from that perspective? Why not looking through the window from the sunglass guy's point of view?
The billboard was the witness. Well, because then it wouldn't you then who would be watching in the case of Anne Lively, because they were in the woods,
Yeah.
the trees.
Exactly.
Huh.
The hills have eyes.
Where we at? So, yeah, at this point, Whitwer actually is the one who kind of starts catching on, because he goes to the Leo Crow crime scene. Who lays out all their evidence on the bed like this?
Never.
Like, this is very unlikely. This never happens. This is a setup. And so he's kind of onto the whole situation. Like, he's
very
realizing
suspicious.
that Anderton's being set up. Then he starts investigating the whole Anne Lively thing and realizes the truth. It wasn't just a minority report. They're two separate incidents.
Right. It wasn't an echo.
Yeah, because maybe that was the error. That could have been the error in the echo, and the reason they threw it out in the first, or that could have, the minority report. That could have been the quote unquote, disagreement in the minority report, and that's why they threw it out in the first place. But they treated it as an echo, which is when the precogs see the same vision multiple times, just because it was extra traumatic or whatever, and they call that an echo, and they throw that out. Because it's not a new crime, it's just a repeat of the old crime. It's just a rerun. But in this case, since it's one of the pioneers of the whole system committing this crime, he knows exactly how to manipulate it so that it looks like an echo, but really it's a whole new crime.
Yeah. That was the big swerve, was Whitwer. He knows he's onto something. And so he goes and reports everything to the director of Precrime, Lamar Burgess, who is the Max von Sydow.
Right.
And yeah, little does he know that Burgess was the one behind everything all along.
He was the one. And obviously, you know, when Whitwer's like, oh, you know, if somebody's going to pull this move, then they have to know how Precrime works. They have to be an insider. And Burgess is like, you're too clever. Pew, pew.
With Anderton's gun, apparently.
With Anderton's gun. Yeah, poor Whitwer, he's gone.
So bye-bye, Whitwer. And fuck you, Burgess.
Oh, man. So this is interesting, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So then Anderton has brought Agatha to Laura's house, his ex-wife.
The ex-wife. Or separated wife?
Separated wife? Whatever. I mean, she said that the reason that she left him is not because they had any sort of falling out, but because anytime she looked at John, she saw her little boy. And it was too much, which is understandable. So, you know, they totally still love each other. It was just too hard.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she still has his last name. So that's why I was like, I'm not sure if they're divorced or what.
Right. Even if they divorce somebody, a lot of women will keep the last name just because it's a pain in the ass to go through all of the changing it.
Yeah, I could see that. Now, if you were to change your name after a divorce, can you just change it to something else? What if you wanted like a cool sounding last name? Like Anderton.
I think if you want to change your name legally, then you have to like go through a court. Like you have to, I feel like you have to appear in front of a judge and stuff.
Damn.
As our old boss used to say, or he would like jokingly say, "Oh, you look like my future ex-wife," or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's his pickup line.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody came up to me and told me that, I would just be like, huh, awkward. I don't know how to react to that.
Then you're not his type.
I guess, yeah. I feel like there's still so much going on, but like we're still pretty close to the end. It's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they end up at Laura's house, which is a very nice house, like in the country or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's very cute, and they're sitting upstairs, and there's this very touching, emotional scene where Agatha is kind of able to predict an alternate future where Sean was alive and with them, where he grows up and goes to high school, goes to college, gets married, and and he ends up being a track star like his daddy. And
Tom Cruise does like to run. He is good at that.
Yeah.
If that was my job, I would quit.
Running.
Yeah.
Like having a job where you have to run all the time like that, like even whether it was an actor or whatever else, I would just be like, yeah, I think I'm done with this.
I think I'm
all you're
good.
gonna have me do. Yeah, I'm
Even
good.
for a few $1 million?
Depends on how many millions.
How many zeros are we talking here?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Thank you. I'm glad you get me.
So this is a touching scene, but Precox can barely predict spontaneous murders. How can she somehow see events of Sean's life that never happened?
That's an excellent question.
Yeah.
I don't have an answer to that one.
And he died a long time ago, so it's like this is like way far ahead in his timeline. So it's like, is she seeing like a separate timeline? I'm wondering.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a little confusing for me when this was going down. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
you know, that's nice for them, but I don't know. This is kind of like just speculation. This is kind of just taking someone's word for it because you'll never know for sure. He didn't get to grow up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't disagree.
Same.
But unfortunately, he started asking about Anne Lively, and this is where he drops the bomb, where he's like, just tell me who killed Anne Lively, or who killed your mother, who killed Anne Lively,
Right.
and you're just like, oh, that's why she was so obsessed with this one. And she's basically like, I don't have time to tell you right now because you have to run.
Yeah.
That was a little unnecessary.
Oh,
Right.
big time.
Calm your ass down, lady.
I know. Because then they come through and it's not even like that big of a deal. They're not like, blah, blah.
Well, he didn't freaking listen, did he? And so
No,
they
he
all come
didn't.
through.
Well, she was too
They do.
busy seeing like fucking 20 years in the future that she couldn't tell that they were already on their ass. And she warns
Yeah.
them like 2 seconds before they come in through the door. But yeah, this was all a setup because when Anderton gets to Laura's house with Agatha, she also calls up Burgess on the phone, and she's just like, "Hey, so yeah, he's here. Just letting you know."
Oh yeah, because she still trusts him. She doesn't know the full truth yet.
Right.
She thinks he's still the pioneer of pre-crime. So dang, Anderton gets caught.
Yep. After all
He
of
doesn't
that.
run.
Good for
He doesn't
nothing,
escape.
Agatha.
Yeah.
Right.
Give me more of a head start here.
Cool story though, bro.
Yeah.
Seriously. Okay, sorry.
Run.
Run, as we said. Yeah, he does not run. He gets captured. He ends up in the body farm with the one creepy guy on the organ who watches all the bodies. One more thing is, I guess there's going to be a press conference slash awards ceremony at which uh, Burgess is getting recognized.
Yeah, this is going to be some sort of like launch of pre-crime across the nation. I think it's a big
Right.
deal.
So she goes to visit, or Laura goes to visit him, and they're talking about John and how sad it was. And let's remember him the way he would have wanted us to remember him, as if he's dead. And she mentions like, oh, he seemed to be under the impression that there was this woman named Anne Lively, and that the whole crow thing was a setup because he was finding out too much about that. Burgess was the one that was like, oh, let me find out about that. Let me find out who drowned Anne Lively. And she's like,
What?
I never said she drowned.
Ah.
And he
That's
kind of
weird.
stands up. Yeah. And he stands up and he like moves the chair away that was in between them, and it's all intimidating.
Aggressive.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, he thinks she's like, I don't think he's gonna kill her right there, but
It was definitely uncomfortable for sure.
definitely. And then after that, Laura makes a little trip to the pre-crime division, whose security freaking blows. They
It does.
still this freaking Anderton is now in prison, and they still haven't disabled his eyeball.
Nope. And why is there only one guy watching all these criminals? And he's like a handicapped guy.
I don't think they need anyone particularly robust guarding these people. Okay.
But listen, okay, so in the wrong hands, you could have someone walk in there and free everyone. What the fuck?
That would be scary. I feel like that's what they're kind of that would be their worst nightmare. I don't know. Did they try to avoid this by keeping them in tubes? I don't know. But yeah, the lack of security in this place was astounding.
Again, Jurassic Park is that one IT guy, one security guard. That's all that this budget can afford.
That's it. They're running him ragged.
Yeah, so Laura comes with the eyeball, and I kid you not, I was like, how did she get in there? Oh, maybe she has the eyeball. And then the guy's on the organ, and she's like, I want a word with my husband. And he's like, how the hell did you get in here? And she drops the eyeball on the organ. And I was like, oh yeah, I remember.
That's right.
And then he was like, and why haven't they disabled his eyeball yet?
Yeah, they keep forgetting.
Idiots. But yeah, then Burgess is at his little award ceremony, and Laura's like calling his friend, and oh, John needs a favor. And the guy wasn't like, I thought he was in prison. He just does it. It's true loyalty.
Yeah, it is.
But he's able to broadcast the murder. They end up broadcasting this entire murder of Anne Lively in front of the whole party to see.
A little dramatic, but you know, it needed to be done.
And I think Andrew was there, and he was like, how are they broadcasting it at the thing? And I was like, that's what the friend is doing somehow. Taps into, shows it at the awards thing, whatever. This must be the IT guy that didn't disable Anderton's eyeball because they're buddies. So, but the interesting thing about this video is it shows the murder in its entirety. And she almost gets murdered, but that guy gets arrested.
Pre-crime comes in, grabs that guy.
And then she really gets murdered by Burgess himself.
I like how he's like taking forever too to like, all right, hold on, wait right there. Let me put on this mask really quick. Let me get my gun out.
Right, exactly.
The whole time she's just like, what's going on?
Poor thing. Poor, innocent,
drug-addled.
I know, who was just trying to get her poor daughter back.
Right, from pre-crime. They found use for the precogs. Everything's working, and they're like, no, there's no way we're giving these people up now. And Lively was turning her life around. She wasn't doing drugs anymore, and she wanted her kids back. And they're like, nope. So they took her out.
Damn.
It was the perfect plan. What could go wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's something exciting. Then we get another red ball
Oh
at
shit!
Precrime.
And whose name is on it?
John Anderton being killed by Lamar Burgess.
Here's the thing. There's nothing more fitting than gifting a deadly weapon at an event that's meant to celebrate the prevention of murder.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Big flex.
A working gun. Here's some bullets too.
Yeah.
Because why not?
Why? Who would? I mean, it was nice.
It was a nice looking, sure.
What a dumbass move. I know. With the bullets. Come on. But then, yeah, the entire plot is revealed. Burgess, admits that he couldn't give Agatha back up.
Busted.
Yeah, and then they go out into the balcony. He's about to kill Anderton, and Anderton kind of pulls the whole "you have a choice" spiel, and then Burgess turns the gun around on himself.
He had two choices here that he needed to face. He can either spare Anderton and watch Precrime be discredited and shut down, or validate the program by killing him and then go into prison. So, which is it going to be? Either way, it's a lose-lose.
Yeah. Option C, kill himself.
He takes the coward way out.
I can't go out like that.
Ain't going down like that. So, yeah. I mean, I guess that ended up kind of falling into category A because Precrime is abandoned. People are now seeing all the flaws that the system has in it. Kind of like how we started spotting a lot of plot holes in this movie towards the end. Like the third act, it kind of starts falling apart a little bit.
Yeah.
Anderton and Lara, they reconcile. So that's nice to see. And Lara is pregnant now with another child. Sean 2, as they officially name him. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, his name is Sean 2, T-O-O.
Part 2, T-O-O.
Yeah.
And then the movie kind of ends with the precogs being moved out into, I don't know, it seems like the middle of nowhere to some undisclosed location, I imagine. And they live in peace in this little cottage.
Yeah.
Pretty nice area.
Living out their days.
Kind of makes me wonder, though. So do the visions only happen in like proximity? Because it seemed like moving them out to the middle of nowhere means that they wouldn't get as many visions, right?
Right, because again, if we're dealing with those photons, it has to be the photons of the city, and then there's that matter of entanglement, and it can only happen, at least in their explanation, it can only happen if you're in proximity.
Okay.
Close proximity.
Gotcha. And then like them jacking into the city, it allows them to be able to see everyone in the city.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. All right. So I wonder how that would have worked going national. Is there a way that they could like link into a bunch of different facilities?
Right. Or would they be getting other precogs, teaching them how to cull other precogs? But I mean, if it were that easy, then why would, I don't know, why would Burgess kill himself if he really needed Agatha?
Pretty interesting, because then I wonder if the organization would just like drug a bunch of people, while they're pregnant, and then hopefully they might come across some more precogs, snatch those babies up, and then erase the parents. Yeah, interesting to think about. And that's what I liked about it, was it had a lot of cool tech in this movie, and just the concept of the precogs. It's like both mechanical and biological at the same time. It needed both to be able to like work properly. So that was interesting.
Yeah.
That is a wrap on Minority Report. If you made it to the end of this podcast, then we just prevented your future murder.
Oh, thank goodness.
Boom. You're welcome.
Finally, something good.
Any final thoughts or closing comments?
Ahead of its time.
I know. I've seen that movie so many times, and it's still entertaining every time.
Yeah, despite whatever plot holes, it's compelling. It's a good movie. It's at least worth one watch.
Right.
If not several.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, we never actually found out what happened to Sean, though, did we? Which is sad.
Yeah, he was snatched up, and I don't think anyone ever really knew. That was before Precrime, so very sad. And still to this day, though, that touch-free console, I saw that in the trailer, and I was like, fuck yeah, that sold me
Oh,
on this
yeah.
movie.
Hell yeah. Touch free.
I specifically remember that scene with her going, run, being in the trailer, just to like
Yeah.
add, excitement to it.
Exactly. It was for the trailer. No doubt they filmed
Pretty
that because
much.
it fell flat in the movie.
Hey, did you guys notice how bright this movie actually looked? Really fucking bright. Like it's like the contrast was just turned up to max.
Yeah. I
Everything
agree.
looked bright, like kind of blinding almost.
Well, believe it or not, I watched it on DVD
Oh shit.
because it's not freaking streaming anywhere. Did you guys like rent it or something? But
Yeah, I did.
I do happen to have the DVD, and it. I was like, well, I mean, I could rent it if I wanted the higher quality. Have it, so let's do this.
Oh yeah. And did it look as washed out? Because I feel like colors were kind of muted because it was so fucking white. Like this movie was super bright.
Yeah.
It was pretty bright, but not that bright.
It's like that contrast of Sin City, but the opposite of dark.
Right? Yeah. Maybe trying to translate it into HD kind of messed with it a
like
little
blowing
bit.
it out.
I imagine that's done in post, so that had to have been done purposefully because they could have corrected it if it was like super washed out looking.
Right.
Well, I don't think it was like that on the DVD to my recollection, which is why I'm wondering because obviously, I mean, they're not gonna. They're probably just gonna convert it to HD the best they could. They're not gonna like take it all the way back to post production or something. So
it was definitely apparent when they're outside because when they're outside, the sky looked white. I couldn't even see any blue at all. It was like heaven was in the background. That's what it looked like to me.
Right.
So I wonder if that was just to convey some sort of like futuristic feel or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
Clean, sleek, and sterile.
Yeah, definitely. That's how it felt. Sterile. I don't know, cold.
Right. Yeah, some of the stuff I enjoyed in the movie, like the personalized ads, that was ahead of its time. Like as you're saying, this movie was ahead of its time.
Yeah.
The other thing that I really, really enjoyed about the movie, and I always think about, is not only the cars but the highway. The highway was a cool set piece in the movie where everything's autonomous, and this is kind of what I was thinking of with the Tesla autopilot and stuff like that. Was in theory, it'll be much safer because it'll be paying more attention. And if there are more cars on the road with autonomy, they can all see each other. They're all communicating with each other. And so in theory, there'd be way less accidents.
Exactly.
Since traffic would be better handled by these autonomous cars, there would basically be no traffic because traffic would just be flowing at like the highest efficiency all the time.
Right. Oh, imagine that. Imagine that.
And also, apparently, these cars can scale like, like completely vertical walls.
Yeah.
As he was hopping from one to the next.
Oh.
What about you? Like, were there any standout moments in the movie?
The spiders. The spiders. What else? Of course, the car and the console. The console was the biggest thing for me. Again, just those gestures and stuff, and just how fluent he was in those movements and what those each represented and visually displayed. Like that's I think my favorite thing of all.
Those are the ones you always think about when you remember this movie.
Yep, that's just like how fucking cool is that? Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say, like, and we were pointing out some plot holes towards the end. I think this is why I don't typically think of Spielberg as like my favorite director, because I do feel like I see patterns in a lot of his movies where there's solid acting, great ideas, but the execution is kind of iffy at times.
Shyamalan-esque.
I mean, I wouldn't say like to that extent where he has these twists at the end of his movies, but I feel like the way he carries out certain things, I don't quite agree with, or I would have expected it to be done a different way. So, I mean, that's just me. I just feel like, to me, he peaked in the late 80s, early 90s, and the stuff that he continued to release after it were always disappointing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's almost like it's just this. There's something about it. There's always some sort of plot hole. There's something with the M. Night Shyamalan. Of course, was being facetious though with the Steven Spielberg thing. Yeah, there's stuff that's missing, but he's got some home runs.
I definitely respect what he's done and what he's accomplished.
Yeah, same.
Are you watching anything lately, film or TV?
What am I watching? Nothing really consistently.
Hmm.
What have I been? Well, I mentioned the Odyssey, so I've been listening to the Odyssey in audiobook form.
Yep.
So that's been one form of entertainment. The other, I guess, I really been watching, and I'm like have this like addiction. I dove into so I've thrifted a few items and I like them, but they didn't fit me exactly the way I was hoping they would. And so what I've been watching a lot of are videos on tailoring and stuff. So then I started getting into sewing and
Did you pull the
I have a
trigger?
sewing. I do, yeah. So I've got that sewing machine.
You did it. Oh, you dog. Does Easton know you're cheating on her with that beauty there?
Not yet. Haha. But yeah, this thing is oh, it's cool. I just haven't even opened the box yet because I'm not in a place where I can. I just feel like I gotta take care of a few more things first, and then I'll. So yeah, so that's if for entertainment, that's what I've been watching. But anyway, so the Odyssey when I'm in the car primarily, and then have just been a little obsessed, at least for the past few days, with sewing. What about you? What are you watching?
Nice. I did go back and watch an older movie on Paramount Plus. Brenda and we watched The Faculty. I don't know if you remember that movie.
Oh shit, we were just talking about that movie. Josh Hartnett. Yeah, dude, classic.
Yeah, that movie is an interesting one because it definitely, like, it's not that old. Was it like late 90s, early 2000s?
Yeah, yeah.
It feels a lot older than what it is because I think it's trying to be more of a throwback to like 80s slasher flicks or something, like 80s horror movies. I don't think it needed to be that way, but that was a stylistic choice. And I liked it. I dug it. That movie starts off quick. It's like immediately aliens are here, taking over people.
Right away. Right.
I was like a cold open even before the title of the movie is shown.
Like Jaws or some shit. Yeah, I was like, boom.
So we saw that, and then we also saw Beetlejuice in theaters, but not just any theater. We saw it in 4DX.
Damn. Oh, dude.
If the listeners don't know what that is, I think that's specifically kind of trademarked with Regal Edwards movie theaters. But 4DX is basically like you get, instead of just sitting there watching a movie, the seat moves around, fans that blow wind at you for specific scenes in the movie. They'll flash lights.
Yeah, when there's water being squirted, they have a guy who like just grabs a little bit of water out of a cup
with
and
a straw.
Yeah, through the straw or through his teeth. It depends on their technique.
right in your face.
Right in the face.
Yeah, right in the kisser.
Right in the kisser. Oh my gosh, I should not have laughed that loud. That's hilarious. Oh man.
And I think the seat vibrates too. So yeah, they got these extra effects that they sync up with certain parts of a movie. And of course, because it's kind of like a special experience, they charge a little bit more. So they charge like $10, $15 more than a regular ticket. So
yeah,
it's not something that you would always go watch movies at, but it's kind of cool for like specific movies, that things that will actually make sense and take advantage of those functions. I mean, the movie itself, if you are a fan of the first movie, then you almost have to go see the second movie.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I guess I'm going to have to.
And the last thing that Brenda and I have been watching, she's gotten really into The Big Bang Theory, which is streaming on Max. So if you're interested, go watch it there. But I felt like, because they're really like nerdy and techie and stuff like that.
Right.
She digs the humor and the characters on that show. So I'll catch some episodes from time to time, and we'll just watch that together. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Right on.
It's a fun show.
That show just never grabbed me. I kept trying, but I was like, this is too nerdy. I'm sorry, it's too nerdy. And people would reference it too, because we were like, I was working in Pasadena when it was really popular.
Okay.
They're like, oh my gosh. And then I'm like, no, Sheldon.
No, thank you. Yeah, he is kind of annoying. I'm not going to lie. As always, you can find us wherever you normally get your podcasts. New episodes drop on the first Saturday of each month, 5 a.m. Pacific. If you like what you heard, please consider giving us a like and subscribe. Thank you for listening and joining Stephanie, Michael, and I. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and all the rest.
All of it.
This has been Aflixionados Podcast, episode 45, Minority Report, and we'll see you all next year.
Ciao.